Well, hey everybody, it's the 14th day of August 2025. Excuse me, I'm Jan Erickson, and this is As Above, So Below. Well, I got to the very end of the reading, the very last card, and my computer screen just started jumping all over the place. So obviously that's not gonna process out. So I don't want to go and do another reading though. Usually when that happens, like, oh, that's the key to do another reading. That this is not the one, that there's another one that people could benefit for much better. So, but I'm not going to do that this time because one of the cards in the reading is the Five of Cups, which is what we had on Monday. And what was interesting here, we also had, excuse me, the Thursday before, we had an 11 numerology, which is a master number 11. And then Monday we had a 33, which is a master 33. Some people don't see it as a master number, but others do. I tend to. I view it as Christ consciousness and really higher vibratory stuff. Plus, it was the 11th day of August that the reading happened on. So there's again the master number 11. So there just feels like there was higher energies at work between the two readings, and so I kind of thought, well, maybe they're kind of dovetailing together. And then today we have a 44, which is not a master number, but it's a dual number, right? And so there's an emphasis there, and so that creates. I'm losing my voice here today. We have smoke in the area. A couple fires are kind of close by. One was a house fire. Oh my goodness. But anyway, 44 reduces to 8, and so 8 is about strength and leadership and greater harmony and material recognition and approval. So I hesitate to say that this reading is related to the two prior ones, but it might be through the Five of Cups, since we had Five of Cups, and that was essentially, I think, the catalyst of Monday's reading, the pivot point, if you will. And so again, if we have that again today, then to me there's a connection between the last two readings and this one. So that's why I want to keep this particular reading, plus it's in my head. So but anyway, let's go ahead and get started with Dagaz. Dagaz is the 23rd rune of the Elder Futhark. It means a new day. All options are available, new opportunities, daylight, awakening, one period coming to an end and a new one beginning. This would be coming to an end, and this would be the new beginning. You can do, and I've said this a bunch of times, especially around the equinoxes, you can do an equinox ritual where you experience the end of your where light time is the same, both sides, right? And so you feel that shift from one to the other. You can experience that by either drawing it on the ground if you're outside, which I usually am, or just visualizing it on the ground if you're in the house or somewhere else inside that you're doing it, and standing in the center of it and visualizing the end of one period and the beginning of a new one, which is the end of summer and the beginning of fall, essentially. And so you're seeing a shift in seasons there, say at the fall equinox, and the same with the spring, the end of winter and the beginning of spring and the spring equinox. But with everything that's going on in the world and in our lives collectively, and and I would think probably because of what's going on collectively, it's impacting people personally. If we look at that, Dagaz as representing the end of one phase and the beginning of another, it could be the awakening to the truth that you don't have to accept what's going on as the only thing that will ever go on, that there's room for new opportunity, for new awakening into something else, a new direction or new path in your life. And so Dagaz is a very high vibratory rune. It's again 23rd rune of the Elder Futhark. Othala is the 24th, the last one. There was a time where some rune masters talked about switching that. But then eventually I tried it both ways with Dagaz as the 24th, and excuse me, and But I went back to Degas being the 23rd because I think Othala is the culmination of everything that we learn in our time here in physical reality. So I thought, well, I think that's probably the right one to be the end. But I think some people don't look at it that way. But anyway, then I drew on the geomancy side Rubeus. Now, last Thursday I had Carcer, another considered evil rune. That's self-imprisonment. And then on Monday with Populus, which is very passive, all 2 dots all the way down. Whenever you see on our geomancy rune 2 dots, that means that element is passive. There's a passive influence. Here we have, and they're all put, and there's 4 runes I use, and they're put in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. And so here, everything but air is passive. And with air being active and having no balance with anything else, no influence from fire, water, or earth, what grounds air, and keeps it from getting manipulative and controlling. And with Rubeus here, I really think that you're looking at a misuse of force, either on your own part or somebody else's. And if it's somebody else, then you could be, especially with the 5, there could be external forces that have caused you to have this level of loss, essentially. But we'll talk about that. And I think that with Rubeus, you're looking at a wholly negative, controlling, personal agenda-oriented, misuse of force, violence, all of that type of energy that is so low. Why is this happening? This happened the last time? Yeah, it's like Verizon, leave me alone. You're getting such a lower vibrational, reactive, ego-based type of experience. I don't think that this applies to you personally, the person listening to this reading. I think it's external forces. Because I don't think that, given the high vibration of Degas, I don't think, although it could be the new day, it involves more of this. I don't think so. That's not really the feeling I get from this. And when you look at the overall 8 numerology for the reading, you're really looking at a level of inner strength that is soul level. That allows you to stand back and look at things and not react to them, to give them the meaning that even if the meaning is nothing, it's like, okay, yeah, that happened, but it's not going to impact you from doing what you need to do or taking that next step into something else, okay? But it probably will require some inner strength to get through whatever, again, is happening here. And I do think that this is the catalyst for this particular reading, just like I think it was for Monday's reading. And so, again, from loss comes something new. That door gets closed and a new door gets opened, with Degas. But let's talk a little bit about this. If you watched Monday's reading, just bear with me because you already know what this card means. This individual could be man or woman. I always interpret it as a man, but you never know. You can't tell. But whoever it is, has their head bowed. You see 3 cups overturned with the contents spilled over here. You see 2 standing up, but the individual's unaware of all of it. They're just aware of the loss that they have. You've got a line here, and it continues here and continues here, and everything involving this person is on this side of the line. On the other side, it represents, I've always interpreted, and I said this on Monday, as the home. Something to do with the personal life has ended, and instead of continuing on to try to deal with it, it's over with. And 5 is about change. It's also about protection, freedom versus restriction, innovation, variety. But I think that with the idea of change and protection, I think with the black here, cape that the individual's wearing, I think that's protective. I think that he wants to protect his emotions, or she wants to protect her emotions here. as they decide which direction they're going to go now, because clearly this is the one door is closed side of things. This is the change that's happened. So something has, whether it's your home life, something's happened there. Maybe you lost your job, lost your home, caused by external forces that are manipulating you into believing one thing, and now obviously you know that's a lie. And so what you were told and with the protection you thought you'd have, that's not going to happen now. You have to find that yourself and create that for yourself. There was a lot of promises, from the person in the Oval Office about what was going to, now people are finding out that's just not true. The idea of tariffs and not, this could be your business has ended because you can't continue because the high tariff costs you're having to pay. Because no, it's not the country that they put them on that's paying it. That's not what's happening. The importer does, and then it trickles down to you. And if you're the importer, if you have a small business and you're ordering things from tariffed countries, you're paying that money. Or you don't get your goods. Then I don't know what happens. Do you get sued because you ordered them? And I don't know how that happens. Someone's got to recoup that loss, though, that the freight company has. Maybe they go back on the country who of origin. I don't know, whatever business there. I don't know how that works, but something happens, and so this could be a loss of a business, and you just don't know what to do. But Degas is saying, look. There are new options available as this closes. You're going to innovate, and you're going to use your inner resolve, your inner strength to move forward into new possibilities that maybe represents where you're supposed to be. This was a stepping stone. You learned something. You learn not to trust the carnival barker who's spewing all this stuff that somewhere inside you knew, I don't know about that, but yet you still believed. Well, now you know that you can't believe that energy, that rubious energy that manipulates and tries to control and has a personal agenda at the expense of everything and everybody else. That's how difficult rubious is. And so for Degas to suggest, well, okay, yeah, you're experiencing all that, but you know what? There's more to this than you realize. And this is you still have options that are now going to open for you that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And maybe it's all that you've learned you take with into that new opportunity, right? So here we have Temperance. Now, Temperance is a major arcana card, so it's a soul archetype card. So again, soul is coming in and saying, look, whatever's going on, you've got to moderate it. You can't become so stuck and so bereft that you can't move out of that spot, and that you can't see that, the energy of Degas is opening doors for you. And that's where you're supposed to be going on this path, on this journey in physical reality that you as a soul are having, right? And so here, though, you're looking at the angel with 1 foot on the ground, 1 foot in the water. You see the glyph for fire here, that red triangle. It's embedded in a white cube, which is the glyph for earth. And so you're looking at balancing will with, and you're grounding your will a little bit here. And the angel's pouring water from one chalice to the other. You see a path coming up here in between 2 mountains, 2 peaks with the sun rising. Again, that's Degas energy there. The new day with Degas. The sun is rising on whatever experience you're having here, however that resonates for you. I'm just going to keep that general. And but you know that in this case, you have to ground yourself in spirit. I mean, it's in a very real sense, a very as above, so below type of, bringing the above into the below, in terms of how you see this physical reality that you're living in, whatever you're learning, whatever you're experiencing, however that you're growing as a soul, in terms of these experiences that you bring back to the collective, essentially. You're grounding yourself in spirit instead of grounding yourself in ego, essentially. and feeling like, I can't get out of this. And you get into the whole pity party of it all, and you can't see your way out. Well, Degas is suggesting something else here, to have a different balance. You see with Degas, there's the X here in the center. Well, that's Gebo. And Gebo's about balance. It's about balanced energy exchange with others. It's the gift. It's reciprocity. It's marriage, partnership, a link. But essentially, it's balance, right? Balanced awareness that's more heavily weighted on who you are as a soul versus this physical form you've taken, and these and because once you get here, it's ego, right? And it wants to drive the ship, when in fact, no, don't forget that you're a soul. And let the soul guide whatever's happening here. Guide your responses. Guide how you see things. Guide the whatever meaning you want to give it. You can look at this, well, okay, this is over, whatever this is. Now I've got to let that go. I have to move on. I can take with me things that I've learned, but ultimately I have to be ready to embrace that new day, awaken to new opportunities. And that's what I think temperance is really talking about. Don't forget who you are. And don't forget the type of balance that you need to have. And remember that there's always a path toward a new day. And to see things in moderation, to let your emotions settle, and balance your will with emotions, so that the will is not trying to impact your emotions in a way that's egoic, instead of higher awareness based. Because when you do, we come to the Two of Wands. Now, Wands is the fire element. It's represented here either by a crude club with greenery growing out, or by staffs with the same. Here you could say that, we'll talk about him. He's likely a merchant. He's holding a globe in his hand. And it looks like he's standing in the doorway, looking out there, trying to determine, well, what am I going to do now? Again, as the door opens, as new opportunities come your way, which one am I going to take? It's kind of the world here. The first time I saw this card, the world is his oyster, as they say. And you never know about what's going to be inside that oyster, and the pearl that could be in there. And so if it's one of those kind, right? And so consequently, here you have his staff affixed to the wall right there, this little half wall that he's standing there. It's either a bridge, or it's on top of a building or something. But he's looking out over the expanse, essentially. Now, the three of and he has to make a decision, essentially, right? You've got two is about decision. And here is the new opportunities that he's wanting to decide on, essentially, make a decision about. Because in the Three of Wands, you see him facing this direction, and he's looking out over the bay, and he's waiting for his ship to come in, essentially. So he's made that decision, and now he's going to see the fruits of that decision manifest, right? So with two, you're looking at, it can be love, it can be balance, it can be reason, it can be decisions, reciprocity, healing. It can be all of that, right? But here in the Two of Wands, we really are looking, also with the Two of Swords, you're looking at a decision. With the Two of Pentacles and Earth element, you're weighing out something, this or that, this versus that. And then with the Two of Cups, you're coming back, you're making the decision to come back together and heal a rift that's happened between two people. But here, you're making that decision about what's coming. And again, you're looking at, it's reflective of Degas. And the willingness to put this into perspective, this change, this major change that's happened, whatever it is, whether a partnership is broken up, a business has ended, you've lost your job, whatever massive thing that seems to be externally affected or impacted by the Rubeus energy. Something external has happened out of your control, where you just feel like you have no control, emotional control over anything. It's just impacted you so completely that you feel stuck there. Again, last Thursday we had Carcer, that idea of self-imprisonment, keeping yourself in this bubble of perception where you can't get out of it. And and Rado at that time was the rune from the Elder Futhark, reminding us that we're on a soul journey, and it is not incumbent upon us to allow ourselves to remain stuck anywhere. We have to keep on with the journey. And then you pair that with today's Degas, again, end of one period, beginning of a new phase of life that was meant to be. So if you put it in that perspective and you take the emotion out of it, which I think is what needs to happen here, and I know that may be difficult, especially if something really extreme has happened in your life, where a huge change has happened, and you feel like, I've been lied to, I've been manipulated and into doing something, and now I find that I'm left holding the bag. And so, there needs to be a shift in perception as well, so that you understand the truth of the matter, and so that it makes it easier to then look at, with full clarity, what's before you, out there, the new opportunities that are before you and that you need to make a decision on. But just this reinforces the idea that there's a decision that needs to be made, that there's something to make a decision about. You're not simply stuck here with this massive change that's happened in your life, and again, whether this is, all the promises that got made in the last election that were garbage, it was just nonsense. I think we're all seeing that, whether we bought into it or we didn't, whether we knew it was garbage or we thought it was the truth, it doesn't lessen the impact. When a business has to go out of business because they can't pay the tariff charge, it's not the country that got tariff. That's how much you're going to pay. Whatever he put on a particular country, which it's doubtful that he even has the ability to do any of this. But when the freight company's giving you the bill for the tariff, that's it's real. Whether he can do it or not, it's real, and it's happening in that moment. You've got to pay it, or you don't get your freight. And if you don't get your freight, you can't open the doors to the business because you've got nothing to sell, right? So for some people, it's actually that serious. For others on the non-business owner end of it, it's having to pay that at the store, because you will. Whatever the tariff is, it has to get spread out over the inventory, or maybe specific inventory items. You have to figure out how much each one was, and you're going to raise the price by that much, you see. And so then maybe you lose business because people just aren't going to pay it. They don't have the money. And even if they did, they're not going to pay. I'm not going to pay that. It'd be that kind of a thing. So there is an impact. I mean, just looking at that one issue alone, when you have Medicaid being taken away, which won't happen, I guess, until after, next year, after the election, the midterms, they're going to conveniently do that so people forget, right? Well, no, that's going to happen. And so insurance premiums are going to go sky high if you do have regular insurance. And the Medicaid, if you don't have insurance, you have to have Medicaid. Well, that's another thing that's just not going to be there. All kinds of things that we're accustomed to having so that we can survive in life, it's all going to be impacted. Even though, oh no, none of those things will happen. Well, yeah, they're going to. And so we already know, if we're paying attention, that there could be some significant changes in our personal life that are going to be untenable for a lot of people. So I guess that what Degas is trying to say is, in spite of all of that, none of that may be a permanent situation, but it may take a while to undo it later on. Hopefully, if there is a later on to undo things with. But at some point, you're going to have to make a decision. And you're going to have to do that now as to what you do to insulate yourself as best you can. Hopefully you can. There will be some people that will not be able to do that. But there still has to be some hope in life. And with Degas, there's always that inherent in that rune where options are available. You just have to look, and hopefully communities will come together to try to fill that need for people. So again, with today's 8 numerology for the reading, it's going to take a lot of inner strength and harmony, greater harmony with one another, to get through these difficult times that are so emotional and make you feel like there's just no hope. There's nothing I can do. I'm stuck here, you know. Um, but change is also a catalyst for something else. And Degas would suggest that in spite of the rubious energy that might have gotten us here, uh, from a higher perspective, you may be able to um, see the opportunities that come your way in a new light, you know, with a new type of awakening, where you understand the, you know, nefariousness of this and the personal agenda oriented kind of impulse that's behind all of it. It has nothing to do with making the country great again. It has to do with filling certain people's pockets, and that's it. It's not. It's not here to help anybody. It's not here to elevate society. It's not here to make things better for anybody other than a chosen few. So, and however that manifests for you, that leads you to hear the fact that we had it on Monday. It just tells me that this is something that we're dealing with, and we're going to have to be creative. Whether it's Nothies on Monday, which is a Norn room for the friction within to manifest and get through, you know, being and letting go of the follower mentality of populace, and just, you know, going off a cliff you don't even know is there till you get there. And I said it on Monday, and you're in free fall, and now all of a sudden you realize. Well, whatever you've realized, now is time to take action and to see and look for the new opportunities that are going to come. And at least Degas is suggesting that. And be open to them and not get so stuck in the emotion of the Five of Cups, both Monday and today. And also Fasika's Four of Cups was on last Thursday, which is you can't see what you have. You can't see the emotional support that's there. You can't see your own emotional your own emotional support. I'm not even going to go outside today because I have to water my deck, but or no, I did that yesterday, so maybe I can get away with not doing that today. The smoke is just destroying my throat. That's outside, but just being able to understand that when you're talking about a higher vibratory energy versus a very lower vibratory energy, it doesn't mean the lower one's going to win out like they think they will. That there's something there, you know, something there waiting for just for you to embrace, and to embrace that new day and those new opportunities, and a shift in perception is likely going to be part of that, and how you see what's going on. And if you have to say, well, okay, I believe somebody, obviously I shouldn't have, now you got to regroup and figure out what's next. And Degas would suggest that all options are available here. You just have to examine them objectively and settle on something. And it may not happen right away, but it will happen, is the feeling that I have here. But again, you know, grounding will with emotions, balancing the will with emotions, and grounding it in spirit is kind of the soul archetype influence here on the reading. But again, I think that, you know, emotions keep us stuck, either like we were on last Thursday with Carcer and the Four of Cups. Two of Cups we also had, and the Fool. And there we had, you know, some healing that had to happen with the two. And the Fool is all things are possible, you know, undeveloped potential. Same thing with Degas, undeveloped potential. So just a more balanced view of what's going on, and having some determination to set off on a new course, in spite of, you know, the awfulness of Rubius. So, and the impact somebody who is that malevolent can have on a person's life or on society or even on the world. So anyhow, that's it. That's the reading for today. Normally, I would draw everything fresh, but when my computer starts jumping all over the place here, the screen does on this software I use to do the videos. But I liked the reading, and because of the relationship for the between this one and the other two before it, I think we're all in that place in one way or another. Either nothing's happened yet to us, but the fear of it is there, and fear will keep you stuck in a place that you can't move out of. And I think that that's the point of this, is to not get stuck there, and to awaken to something new, and particularly a shift in perception in how you see things. So anyhow, thanks for watching. And if it's hot where you are, I feel for you. I think it's supposed to be a little cooler here tomorrow, but I don't even know what that means anymore. So my weather app, if it says it's going to be, it says it's going to be 87 yesterday. It was 92 or 93, so 92, I think. So it's like, just add 5 and you'll have the right temperature for us. I don't know what's going on there, but that seems to be the case. But hopefully it will be indeed cooler tomorrow, but I don't know. I think the weekend's supposed to come back up. So stay cool if you can, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Maybe we'll get out of this mode and into something else. We'll see what it says, though. In any event, be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.